2020 Peak Season Supply Chain Tips. How to navigate the tough peak season of 2020. 2020 has been a crazy year in general for supply chain planners and managers. It marks one of the most frustrating and challenging years in recent memory, constantly producing new challenges that have proven difficult for supply chain managers to navigate and respond to effectively. Early 2020 saw COVID-19 taking the world by storm, resulting in mass factory shutdowns, warehousing disruption, ocean and air shipping changes, adding to an already heavily volatile freight market. March saw freight rates on many domestic lanes skyrocket for a brief amount of time as emergency supplies were being expedited globally. Following this whirlwind, volumes dropped more than any time since the Great Recession, with shippers enjoying some of the lowest domestic freight rates in about a decade. But trucking providers struggled to remain financially viable. As the world has slowly reopened, and much to the surprise of many analysts, consumer demand has rebounded quickly, with many overseas factories revving up production again. Peak season has been the center of many discussions throughout 2020, with many wondering if there will even be a peak season in 2020. Well, over the last couple of months, volumes have hit record highs and rates are at matching records. Some estimate domestic freight volumes are around 20 to 25% higher than in 2018 or 2019, putting significant pressure on U.S. transportation carriers to have capacity for the unexpected volume surge. Even rail intermodal experienced a rapid year-over-year increase of nearly 25%, largely attributed to the rapid increase in trucking price and lack of cross-country trucking capacity. Now let's take a look at why there's been such a surge in volume and reduction in capacity during the 2020 peak season. Why the surge? The short answer is that the simultaneous rise in consumer demand, paired with the delayed freight from earlier in the year, has combined to create an immense surge in volume. In more detail, many importers and even domestic manufacturers curbed production earlier in the year. But in light of recent demand spikes, they have sought to produce as much inventory as possible and have it stocked and available for purchase before the holiday season. Much of this freight would have normally been shipped earlier and spread more evenly throughout the year. However, due to COVID-19, production was delayed and thus hitting the freight ecosystem all at once in a massive wave. According to the Census Bureau, inventory to sales ratios were extraordinarily low mid-summer, resulting in firms wanting to restock and rebuild inventory levels. Trucking capacity has also diminished due to several reasons, principally increased insurance rates, stricter drug and alcohol testing regulations, COVID risk, and low Q2 freight volumes have pushed many drivers and carriers out of the business, resulting in a significant shortage of drivers which will continue for some time. For shippers, the real question is what you should do, and of course the answer is it depends. Taking a look at peak season freight solutions mean making the assumption that your freight must be delivered in time for the holiday rush. 1. Plan as early as possible. This is without a doubt the most important component of successfully navigating peak season. Work with suppliers, logistics partners, and any other stakeholders to plan your shipments as early as possible. This means booking ocean freight capacity as soon as the factory has a confirmation on the available date. It means letting domestic logistics partners know when the ship departs and when the freight will be available for pickup in the U.S. This gives your logistics partners several weeks of lead time to prepare asset positioning to best align their service with your volume. Number 2, rates are going to be high and highly volatile. We have seen rates increase on certain lanes by around 50% within the last 10 days, which is extraordinarily hard to deal with for everyone. Proper planning, early booking, and diversification strategies can help, but ultimately the freight market is supply and demand based, and you should expect to pay much higher rates now than what you did even several weeks ago. Keep in mind that you shouldn't hesitate when it comes to planning shipments even at higher rates, as the absolute most expensive options would be to delay shipments, then require air freight to move your inventory or miss out on holiday sales. We do not expect rates to drop anytime over the next several months. Diversification. 2020 has been the year of diversification for supply chain managers across the world. Coronavirus has shown supply chain planners where the vulnerabilities are in their supply chains, and many companies, small and large, are seeking to diversify their supply and modes based as a hedge against future disruptions. Effectively, they don't want to have all their eggs in one basket. What this means in the long term isn't fully known as of yet, but expect to see some companies spread factory partnerships across multiple countries instead of relying on factories just in one country. Increases in the amount of nearshoring are also going to be popular, particularly in Mexico, and build more tiered processes designed to address disruptions. In the short term, firms are looking at alternative solutions for freight capacity and spreading their volume across multiple carriers and modes of transportation. Intermodal has become highly competitive with trucks, many times being 25% or so less expensive on long-haul routes, and is providing shippers with an all-important safety valve of capacity in markets where trucks are simply unavailable or priced at exorbitantly high prices. Intermodal service has also improved drastically on key corridors over the last year or so and represents an attractive alternative for long-haul, cross-country shipping and cross-border shipping. Generally, you can expect intermodal transit times to be the truck time plus 1 day. For many non-expedited shipments, this is a fair trade-off and simply results in more free warehousing space as the product spends more time on a train or in an intermodal yard than it would in the back of a truck. Technology. Technology has been adopted quicker in 2020 by supply chain planners than at any point in the last decade. Working from home has necessitated it in many ways, but the rapidly changing logistics market and environment have also favored tech solutions as a way to better plan, manage, and analyze freight movements and inventory levels. Better freight visibility gives shippers the ability to more accurately coordinate with dock and warehousing teams, plus provides a heads up if there is a problem that needs to be addressed. Some logistics technology providers like Zmodal give shippers access to capacity they wouldn't otherwise have access to. Namely, in the case of Zmodal, the intermodal network. Being able to quickly find more capacity on a given lane can reduce freight spend and get freight moving now that otherwise might have been delayed until further trucking capacity was available. Inventory and warehouse management systems also gives firms an edge when it comes to planning inventory demand and accurately forecasting when replenishments will be needed. How long will the capacity crunch remain? This is the tough one, and different analysts are making different predictions, but it's a safe bet that rates will continue to remain at current levels or move higher going into the first quarter of 2021. It's possible that capacity will remain at a deficit for the next 6 to 8 months, which means shippers and their supply chain managers will need to be more resourceful than ever to maintain supply chain operations without breaking the bank. 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone in the supply chain and logistics industry, and navigating this year's peak season is no different. Zmodal is a digital door-to-door intermodal provider offering access to the North American intermodal network through our easy-to-use dashboard, where users can search routes, book, and execute shipments within a few minutes. Easy shipment tracking, quick payment systems, analytics, and digital document management make Zmodal the easiest way for shippers to convert freight to intermodal. With 24/7 support and security, you can rest assured that your freight is in good hands. Give us a call or sign up today if you want to see how Zmodal can help your supply chain. More videos coming along very soon from Zmodal.